Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christy from Van Ahn Company. It's Friday, August 26th. I'm going to go over the markets with you for the day. You had aggressive selling into these grain markets, specifically into the wheat market. It really looked like you just couldn't catch a break in this wheat market. It got pushed extremely hard, closing down about 18 cents into Chicago, down 15 in Kansas City, and anywhere from 10 to 15 in Minneapolis. So you're starting to really get close to those lows that we have not seen in a very, very long time, especially on that weekly chart for Chicago wheat. So aggressive selling day really throughout the board. So your beans came down about 7 to 8 cents lower on the day, and then corn closed down as well 7 cents, closing at $3.16 on the September contract for corn. So really starting to give back majority of those gains we saw over the last 2 weeks here. To note in corn, ProFarmer did come out with their final yield estimates after the close. They came in at a yield of 170.2 nationwide for corn. Currently USDA is looking at a 175.1 BPA. They shocked us last month with that. That's a very high yield. So ProFarmer, they have been off in the past, but a lot of people like to pay attention to this. They did come in at that yield of 170.2, so quite a bit below that, what you were expecting. They gave a range of estimates as well, but I think it only came up to like 171.1, so it didn't even touch where USDA is. Although you got a lower number in corn, you did get a higher number yield in beans, came in at 49.3 nation average BPA into the soybeans. Currently USDA is at 48.9. They did also give a range of estimates there, as you do have some time left in soybeans. These numbers are off a average finish into September. So what they're calling for is average finish. With that, that's what yield you're coming in. So a very strong yield in soybeans. They did come all the way up to like 50.3 for the high end of the range on soybeans. To note, you did have them talk about extremely high pod counts in a lot of these areas. So I think people were thinking maybe you'd get a little bit of a higher yield in beans out of them, but nonetheless, that would be a record yield. It is up there, that extremely high pod counts. So that came after the close though, for that information. You also saw aggressive selling into live cattle, feeder cattle as well here. So no real talk of any cash trade. It's been anywhere from 114 to 116 throughout the week there, but you closed down $1.50 lower in live cattle, not that far away from those lows that we saw about a month ago, and then over $2 lower into feeder cattle. Lean hogs slightly higher. Those outside markets, probably a big reason why you saw that aggressive selling throughout the commodities as well. They flipped to be extremely negative here early in the morning, as you had Federal Reserve come out here and announce that Janet Yellen came out and announced that you're getting extremely close to an interest rate hike once again in the US. So you did that earlier on, and then you kind of took a step back as things happened in Europe, and they weren't really sure what was going to pan out of there. You were really a little bit nervous on how everything was going to pose into the United States, and so they backed off of that. But what she said is it looks like where inflation is, where your job holdings are very close to their target, and at their target, then they would increase the interest rate. And with that, you saw a flip of these markets and saw bonds drop hard. You saw the dollar come from being about 30 to 40 cents lower to 60 cents higher. So you saw that flop there, and then the Dow kind of drop off as well. And so that made it extremely negative for those commodities as well also. So what we're going to see Sunday evening is seeing how this market reacts to ProFarmer, since it was out after the close, and then trading off of that, you're going to start to get some need for demand to pop back up, especially in this soybean market, if you want them to bounce off this negativity for the last end of the week. I do have to close with the disclaimer: trading in futures and options involves risk loss and may not be suitable for all producers. Have a great weekend.